Day camaradas, this is Mandingueiro Polonsky with Capoeira Live Podcast, and today I'm over here with Professor Galinho.
Hello!
So the thing I wanted to start with talking about, I don't know where it's gonna go, but the first thing I want to share with you guys, it's today when the moment I woke up, I brushed my teeth and then I got to check out my phone and I got a really heartwarming message, a WhatsApp from one of my students of the adults group. She's been training for about 3 months now, and she wrote me something in the lines of how thankful she is and how grateful she is having capoeira in her life and having the opportunity to meet other people, to get stronger, to feel more energized. She said that the day that she feels the most energized of the week is the day after the training. And for me, waking up to this message was amazing and heartwarming. And I have this issue that it bothers me that in Israel the concept, or maybe what people think of capoeira is for kids, and it's not 100% true, because in most other places around the world, Brazil and Europe, there are more adult practitioners than kids. Mostly, especially in Brazil, the kids groups are very small, and most of the students, most of the capoeira audience is adults actually. And I feel like I have some kind of a mission, or I have some kind of a big want that I want to change that perception and that idea of capoeira in Israel, and make people understand that capoeira is for kids, teenagers, and adult as well. Everyone can get whatever he needs the most, if it's physical or emotional or social needs. All of them could be fulfilled in the world of capoeira. And we got lucky that our art is so rich. And yeah, so I think one by one we'll get to change that perception of capoeira. And I think it might go to somewhere more like yoga. When people think of yoga, they think, oh, health, oh, stretching, I don't know what, but they don't. No one think yoga. Oh, it's for kids. You know, the first thing when you talk with any adult of capoeira, he will tell you, oh, my son used to do it, my little brother, whatever. And it really seems that it was meant only for kids. And I think that's because my teacher, Contamest Kakara, she was one of the first people in Israel to bring up this idea of teaching capoeira to kids. When capoeira started in Israel, it was the youngest people were 15, I think, and most of the practitioners were 21.
In their 20s.
Yeah, before the army, after the
or
army.
after, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to say after the army service. And my teacher, Kontomes Kaka, she was already a gymnastic instructor, so she was already giving classes to kids, gymnastic classes. And she told Mestre Dan, why won't we teach capoeira to kids? It's really similar, and the class would be probably mostly the same. I think everyone will want to practice, and it's gonna be a huge success. And so it became. There are capoeira schools in Israel which contain more than 100 kids from starting from age of 3, 4, 5, and it is really amazing, the change, the impact of capoeira for kids' lives. Even some doctors and some I don't know, mטפלים.
Healers or something.
Yeah, so people who works with kids trouble, problems, whatever, could be physical or mental or physical or social. They often recommend to send the kids to capoeira classes. And it's also another perception people have, which isn't wrong, but just I think interesting, is capoeira is for kids, and mostly for kids who are not in the normal lines. They need some kind of help, and sometimes you get to teach a class which most of the kids are in some special need, or maybe some special learning disable, maybe ADHD and this kind of stuff. And I think the more people will recognize capoeira as a thing that will benefit them, the more we all could enjoy the benefits together, because the purpose of maybe not a purpose, but having a gift to yourself and having a wonderful thing to yourself is not much of a joy. That's why a lot of people became teachers, because they wanted to have someone to train with, to play with, to hang around, to do capoeira with 24/7. And I think just in the late years, people have started seeing it as a really profession. I think it's at first people were just training to get other people to play with them capoeira, because maybe if you live in a village where nobody knows about capoeira, you just want to have someone to practice with, to enjoy this art with. If you want to share some thoughts.
This is a really interesting subject because, you know, it's true that we have this perception here of capoeira for children. And I think that this is driven from the mentality of the people here, that maybe it has something to do with this aspect of the mentality that Israeli people, we're professionals in everything we do. We have to be the best. And you can see that being rolled up in the army, at school, like the importance of being good at something. We're very competitive people. In capoeira, I think we have come to be these amazing professionals, and it's easier maybe with kids because of this mentality here that we have. And it's an interesting thought, because I think it's true that kids are the future and stuff. I think this is affected by many things that happened in the past of in the history of Israel. For example, the Holocaust, those things that had made us think, okay, the most important thing is to have a future, and kids are the future. And so there's this mentality, if for example in Japan you can see that it's totally like the opposite. They now have less and less kids. The population is growing old. As the time passes, it's getting younger and younger by the minute. You spoke about making capoeira your career and your profession. And I think if you really want to make it your profession, then you have to look into the future, as you would do in every other career, every other thing. If you're located in Israel and you wish to make a career out of capoeira, out of doing capoeira and teaching capoeira, you need to connect with this mentality of, okay, I'm going to take care of the generation of the future. And that is kids, that is children. And so it's not only us teachers that connect to this mentality and that needs to adapt to this mentality. It's also the population as a whole, and it's also, for example, the parents of the kids that we teach. They think, like you said, there's a misconception, there's a perception of thinking that capoeira is more for kids, less for adults. And those parents, they think that way, again, because of the same issue that, okay, this is the future. I'm already in my, say la, 40s. And so we need to take care of our future. We need to develop. This is for starters. And second thing I think that causes this mentality is the thing we have here about work. If you look into the countries of Europe, for example, most of them have this mentality in them that people just work less, they make a better living off their work. And that is a huge thing to know and to recognize, that they work less because they can afford it and they can make a better living off it, of their work, of their profession. And so the people have created this type of mentality that they deserve, like they deserve to have a time of their own, they deserve to rest, they deserve to have something fun and good for themselves. And so it has been developed, this mentality that, for example, they work out a lot more than we do. And I'm talking about Israelis as a whole. Europeans just, they work, for example, and after the day is over, they go home. And here, because we people, we work so hard, and all of us have like children, like everyone. So we don't see ourselves fitting in the comparison. And it's sad to say, but this is the reality as I see it. A lot of people, I think that capoeiristas differ from this, but a lot of people see themselves as a machine of service. Like they go to work, then they get back, and okay, how can I even think about making some time for myself, about working out, about, I don't know, doing anything of those things if it's not like Saturday, right? And if you're an independent business, it's even worse, it's even harder. But even if you're not, and you work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 and or something like that, and then you go home, and it takes a lot of time to get home because of traffic, and then you get home at like, I don't know, 5:30, 6 p.m. Then there are the children, which you haven't seen the whole day, and you need to give them attention. That's all.
Okay, guys, if you like this podcast, check out my Patreon, Capoeira Life Show, where you could support all the Capoeira Life Show stuff, videos, and podcasts. Anyways, thank you for listening. This recording was made in the studio, which is called Chunky Studio.
Yeah.
Of Professor Galinho. I recommend you should check it out. If you have any kind of audio work, I'll link down his contacts and you can contact him. Ashe.